Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 23 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series, where today... I thought I made two of these. Did I make two of these? I'm almost certain I made two of these. Oh, I know what happened to it. Haha. Haha. Saw my bag for mining. I went on a little mining between episodes, and I was like, hey, where'd that other compressor? I made two of them. It was in the bag because I broke it and picked it up. Anyway, I am here today to add some power gen to our environment, courtesy of compression dynamos. So I'm taking a look at these to kind of get a feel for how they look and how they work. They look pretty straightforward, look pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and just, instead of using XNet to do anything, I'm just going to use basic mechanical pipes, because I don't think we need any complexities of XNet to transfer this stuff, right? I think that's just fine. Nice. Look at that, refined fuel. I'm going to turn this guy back on so he starts generating power as well. So these guys are generating 40 RF a tick with the base configuration that they're in, right? So I need to get, like, you know, this kind of stuff happening if we want them to produce more. But the good news about refined fuel is I believe if this JEI lookup is correct, it'll produce a total of 1.5 million RF a tick per bucket. So not too shabby. So I'm kind of curious to see how well this whole thing works out. We definitely need to get some speed upgrades in here to make this thing start, you know, breaking through this bitness sand and all this stuff a little bit faster. And I'll be curious to see, like, does this play out? Does it look like a good power source? Or is it a little bit meh, considering how hard bituminous sand... I mean, bituminous sand's not that hard to find. Like, as soon as you find a desert, you're probably going to find a bunch of it, like we did. But, you know, still, it's not that common of a resource. So hopefully it represents a decent amount of power. That said, what I'd like to do today, simply because it's about time, right? We're in the early 20s of episodes. It's time to break into, I want to say, refined storage. A little bit of refinement in our storage capabilities. I think I'd like to break into this mod and really start being able to organize my inventory, set up auto crafting, and get significant automation going on. Also, access to a wireless controller would be awesome, and that would make my life that much easier. So automation, auto crafting, and less of a need to do things manually is what Dire's all about. So I'm very excited to be able to get to start this. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So anybody who hasn't seen refined storage before, you're going to learn it today. It's the easier of the two mass storage mods. There's two major mass storage mods that exist in modded Minecraft today: applied energistics and refined storage. They are pretty similar in what they can do, but there's nuances and differences between them. And it's really just like a personal preference thing. And I like that there's two, and I would even love to see more, because, you know, doing the same mod every time you play through the game kind of gets boring. So we've done a lot of applied energistics in the past recently. I'd like to jump into refined storage. It's been a while since we've really, you know, dived into what refined storage is capable of. So that's why I'm choosing to do refined storage this time. We've done refined storage a lot recently. Next playthrough I do, I'll probably do applied energistics again. We'll see. Right? But refined storage is the easier of the two to get into. It's the more basic, but it's very, very powerful. Don't think that, you know, there's things it can't do. It's just a simpler approach to mass storage. So there's a few things we need to get started. We're going to need a controller. That's the brains of the operation. We're going to need a grid. Ideally, we're going to want a crafting grid, to be honest with you, because those are the best. Because it lets you craft. It's awesome. We're going to need a disk drive. We're going to need some cables. We're going to need a handful of machine casings to make some of these things. For most of the recipes in this pack, or in this mod, we're going to need quartz-enriched iron, which is pretty easy to make. It's just iron and quartz, so not a problem there. I did go mining in the nether between episodes, is where I went, so I picked up a whole bunch of quartz. That'll hopefully, you know, make my life a little bit easier. We'll see. Probably going to need a little bit of gold, probably going to need a healthy bit of redstone, maybe even some diamonds, we'll see. I don't think I need any coal right now, but we'll find out if I do. What else are we going to want? We're going to want disk drives, right? So usually I'll start with a 4K, but maybe I'll start with 16K this time. It's a good starting point. And that'll be good. So let's take a look at this mod. So one of the things you're going to need to make is silicon, which I prepared ahead of time. You just smelt nether quartz to get silicon. It's really that easy. That's about it. Smelting Smelting nether quartz equals silicon. And to get started, the first thing you're going to want is a controller, right? And in order to make the controller, we're going to need a healthy bit of quartz-enriched iron. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do that much. I'm going to do like this much quartz-enriched iron. So 2 stacks of it is probably a good starting point. And that'll get me some machine casings. What do I need? Smooth stone for that, I think is what I need. So I'll get 2 of these because I know we're going to need them eventually. I'm also going to snag while I'm here some cables. These are going to connect the multiple systems that we've got set up all across the base that we're going to have here shortly. I'm going to smelt up a little bit more nether quartz and keep my inventory relatively, but not extremely clear. Cool. So the controller, one of the things we're going to need to make the controller, though, is the advanced processor. For that, we need diamonds, redstone, and silicon, which are straightforward, and processor bindings, which is string and slime balls. Now, that is a thing. We do have some slime balls, which is cool. Where did I get those from? Where did I get those from? I forget. Where did I get the slime balls from? Did I find them in that adventure cave thing? Note that I can now get them from Cactus from Botania. Well, soon. I don't know. Do we have the stuff to make an alchemy catalyst? Yeah, we do. So we could easily convert Cactus into slime balls. So slime balls are less of a problem now. I forget exactly where I got slime balls from, but I got them from somewhere, so I'll take it. We're also going to need string, which I thought I had some of. Didn't I have some string? Maybe I converted all my string into... Maybe I converted all my string into something else, but there you go. Luckily, you get a lot of processor bindings from this crafting, so it's not a hard thing to make. Yeah, I could have sworn I had more string laying around, but I lost it somewhere. That's why I need refined storage. It's going to make it easier for me to find my stuff, and less easy to lose it, right? So let's make ourselves a handful of advanced processors. I'm going to make like 3 or 4 of them, right? That'll get the ball rolling. And I'm going to smelt them up. Boom. That's cool. And now what we'll be able to make is our very first... I don't think I need all this redstone in my inventory, right? Probably not. Nor all this gold. I can have less junk in my inventory for sure. Our first controller. Nice. So the controller is the main brains of the refined storage system. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place it up here somewhere for the time being, but we're going to very shortly wind up moving this into our basement and setting up like a whole, you know, logistical system that's going to manage all the logic of our base is going to be managed by this guy shortly, right? But for now, just so I can demonstrate to those of you who are watching who may not be as familiar with refined storage how it works, we will get that set up. Right? So that's step 1. Step 2 is we're going to need a disk drive. That's the block that's going to let us interact, or that's going to let us store items. So we want a disk drive here, and that's pretty straightforward to make. Boom. So the disk drive kind of lets us store items, and I'm just going to clear out a little bit of space here. We're not gonna really leave this here forever. This is just temporary. You know, Diron is temporary stuff. It's always temporary for reals. Disk drives are what you put disks into, and disks are what hold items. So this 16K storage disk can hold 16,000 items. And we place it in one of these 10 slots here, so we can hold 10 disks inside a single disk drive. So this is going to be your mass storage solution. To interact with the things in the disk drive, right, what we're going to need is to make these 16K storage parts, if we want a 16K storage. So there's 4 drives that are available. There's 1K, which can hold 1,000 items, 4K, which can hold 4,000, 16,000, and 64,000 items. And I don't know if there's the expanded ones that hold more, but I mean, 64,000 items is a lot. And considering you can have 10 of them in a disk drive, that's 640,000 items that can be stored in a single block. So, you know, that's a lot. So to make a lot of these things, we're going to need basic processors and improved processors. And these are a similar recipe to the processor we just saw a minute ago, just replacing iron and gold, right? So let's do raw processors. Let's get like, I don't know exactly how many I need, so I'm going to do like 32. And the gold ones, we're going to do slightly less. We'll do like 16 of those to start. And then we will proceed from there. We'll see if we need more or less in a bit. Cool? So that guy will cook up nice and quick. And we'll be automating all of this in the near future. While that's cooking, we also want to start looking at a crafting grid. So are you about done? You're about done, so nice. 32 and 16. I just picked those randomly. So let's get the storage drives first, right? So the basic process is, in order to make a 16, you need 3 4s. In order to make a 4, you need 3 1s. So, you know what else I'm going to need? Some glass. Do we have any in here? We may not. Let's get a stack or 2 of glass. Open up like that. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to go, let's get our crafting grid, which will allow us to interact with this whole setup, which also, by the way, needs glass. So that's a thing. You know what else I'm going to need in terms of resources? Glowstone. I forgot about that. And I did not get any of that while I was down in the nether. So that's a thing. We'll see if we have enough. So the crafting grid requires construction cores, which are basic processors with glowstone, and destruction cores, which are basic processors with nether quartz. So kind of keep that in mind. You guys can be combined together into a stack, and that looks cool. Do I have no more quartz on me? I thought I had some quartz. So there we go. Okay, so crafting grid just needs another one of these. I'll just drop this on the ground for now. Because as usual, my inventory is quite the mess. And to turn this into a crafting grid, we just need an advanced processor. Awesome. Viewing items and upgrading your grid. Beautiful. So now we'll be able to see all the items that are stored in the disk drives once I have one, and we'll be able to craft with them as well, which is awesome. Okay, so now for the storage drives. So we should have a healthy-ish amount of glass here ready to go. So let's combine all this together into a 16K storage drive. So we're going to want 1K storage parts. So we're going to want 9 of these, right, to make a 16K. And we are short on silicon, right? I think it's 9. And then you can be upgraded into 4Ks, and you can be upgraded into a single 16K, and then that can be turned into a 16K storage disk. Sweet. So now we can pop this dude in here, in any of these 10 slots, and we can start putting all our items away. Oh, that's cool. That's what's up. Look at that. Cool. So now we have 552 items out of 16,000 possible stored, and that's pretty cool. Refined storage is definitely a little bit easier to get into than applied energistics, for sure. Like, absolutely no doubt. It is easier to get into. So that is pretty cool. Look at that. We are up and running. Beautiful. So our next step now is to start getting these chests, all the items that are in them, placed inside here. Now, there's several ways we could go about doing that. We could just break the chests. That would probably be, you know, pretty straightforward. So if I just did, for example, this, and all the items are sitting there, then what I could do is something like this. Cool. So that's one approach. Or if we want to interact with chests in the world, we could use import or export buses. So importers will suck items out of chests and put them in the network, where exporters will take them from the refined storage system and dump them out into inventories in the world, like chests or any other inventory. You can also use external storage if you want to store the items in chests, or drawers. So if you want to interact with a drawer system, you could use external storage and just, you know, connect the external storage to here, and then the refined storage network will have access to all the items that are inside that drawer. So I think it's probably easiest, just especially because of magnet time, that I can do this. Whee! I mean, that's a cool way to do it, right? I'm all about that. Come here, everybody. Let's everybody get in the pool. Nice. Man, do we have a lot of junk. And we're going to see just how much junk we have in a moment here. I think I put my potatoes away. Isn't that what I did? It totally is. Breaking into mass storage is kind of like my favorite part of the game. Because it's that moment where you go from like, all right, everything's manual to everything's automatable. We can automate all the things. Come on, everybody. Let's go. Nice. All right. So we just put 9,415 items inside this storage network. It is about half full, a little bit more than half full. And we've got plenty more room where that came from. So that's pretty cool. All right. Well, that makes life just a little bit easier, doesn't it? I think what I might even do is break this dude. Now, do storage drawers hold their contents without tape? I would assume no, but we'll see. I guess they don't. They do. Interesting. They totally do. That's interesting, right? I remember that starting to happen at some point, and I don't know if that's a bug or if that's intended, that storage drawers now just retain their contents whether or not you put tape on them. But in previous versions of the mod, you needed to put tape on them in order for that to happen. So there's a bunch of different ways you can interact with this grid, by the way. You can have the display show certain types of objects. You can do ascending or descending. You can sort by quantity, name, mod ID, that kind of stuff. Last modified, so the last items you interact with are shown first. I usually sort by quantity. It's kind of the easiest. Search box is pretty cool. I like the search box, so you can search normal, or you can search JEI synchronized, or you can search JEI synchronized two-way, where this happens, or you can search, that's about it. And auto means that it's auto-selected when you open up the UI, and you can't unselect it. So like no matter where you click, it's always, I personally like to keep it, I think two-way is probably the way to go. And then not auto-selected, so you can click away from it easily. Because I'm very used to hitting E to close a UI, so like E on my keyboard to close UIs. And if it's auto-selected, when you hit E, it's just going to type E. So being able to remove the focus there and do that. So that's pretty neat. Nice. I like it. I like it very much, sir. Cool. So what else are we going to want to do? So those are the basics. Like that's the really just like the ultimate basics of refined storage. Nice. Nice. Now, generally speaking, I'm not going to want all my blocks to be touching each other. So let's take our crafting grid and place it over here. And what I'm going to do is set up some... Actually, I do still need you touching for a minute because I need my refined cables. Boop. Boop. Get those connected, and then that's all that. That's all there is to it. Very simple, very straightforward. I said I was going to move this eventually, and that was absolutely the truth. So let's go figure out where we want this guy to live. So our refined storage system could really live wherever we want him to, because cables are a thing. So maybe over in this corner is where we'll have everything. That sounds smart, right? It does require running a few extra things over, but not the end of the world, right? Cool. And this thing has its own internal buffer, and the more things you hook up, the more RF a ticket uses, so keep that in mind. But we should have a bunch of power back behind this wall. Right? That's right, what we did was we used that power system. So let's get, I need some more advanced cables. Did we run out of power already? That can't be. Oh, right, I didn't put my disk drive in there. I was like, hey, where are all my items? I just didn't put my disk drive in the drive yet. So a few advanced power cables, and we're good to go. So we had... What I'm probably going to... I don't want to mess with this setup too much. Wow, you really wanted to do that, huh? The smart thing to do... Channel 1 is my power. I'm going to move this. And I'm going to say on channel 1, you're going to be the extractive power. Cool. That just makes things a little bit neater in terms of, you know, stuff. And you might be wondering why I'm running it up here. I didn't want all those connections to happen to the back of those connectors. Cool. Beautiful. All right. So that is a basic refined storage setup. And we're gonna set up some automation, I think, pretty quickly too, because that should be easy to do now. I should really just always have dirt in my inventory, like I have cobble and stuff. Or what I should do is replace my floor with something a little bit fancier than dirt and grass. You know, I don't know. Sounds crazy to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making some crafters, I think. That seems like a good time to me. So I'm gonna need just a handful more of these dudes smelted up, if you don't mind, redstone furnace. I love how fast you are. Right? So crafters will allow you to, you ready for this? Auto-craft things. Haha! Huh, I bet you're shocked. Yeah, you should not be. They're pretty straightforward. So crafters will let you auto-craft items. You can teach the refined storage system how to craft things for you rather than you having to do it. And this is where you really start getting into the massive automations. So you need crafters to either craft things from like a vanilla crafting recipe like this, right? So anything that would go into a crafting table like this would work. You can also use crafters to craft things from machines like smelting. So you can say that a raw advanced processor makes an advanced processor, but you have to hook it up to a machine that can craft it, like a redstone furnace, in order for it to work. And I'll show you how both of these things are done. In order for it to work, though, you're going to need crafters to do the actual crafting. You're also going to need patterns, which I just removed from my to-do list, but that's okay. We'll add some. Not you. Patterns. There you are. These guys are how you write down what the crafting recipes are. And then also we're going to need a crafting grid, which needs yet another grid. So we're going to want you and you to make this. Oh, we were close. We're getting low on stuff, and then we're going to want a crafting grid. No, we want a pattern grid. Yeah, that's what we want. Pattern grid. So in order to make our pattern grid, we're going to need an advanced processor yet again. Wasn't quick enough on the craft, was I? Pattern grid, go. And pattern grids are where you teach the refined storage how to make something. So for example, you place your patterns here, right? Did I have other patterns? I feel like I made 8, but maybe I made... All right, I was running out of something. Quartz, maybe? So let's teach you how to make quartz enriched iron, right? It's very simple. You use JEI to paste the recipe in, or you place it in manually. If it's a normal crafting recipe, it will automatically figure out what it makes, right? So make sure to, place it correctly, and you'll see that it knows what it makes. And then you just say that, and you're good. If it's not a normal crafting recipe, right? So let's say we wanted to teach it how to make advanced processors. When we click this through, you see it automatically checks the processing button for you, right? So you can check processing, and you basically say this is the inputs and these are the outputs. So using JEI, it's very easy to go ahead and click through it. But if you need to manually specify it for some reason, you can. If you have a pattern that is already programmed and you want to clear it, you shift right click it and it'll reset the pattern to blank. It'll clear it off, and then you can reuse the pattern item again to make something else. Cool. So there's quartz enriched iron. Let's also teach it how to make a machine casing. That sounds like a good time. And then we can demonstrate how auto crafting works in this awesome refined storage mod. And I know a lot of you are probably familiar with this, right? That's not a surprise to me. I'm not going to be shocked to learn that half of you know how this works. But again, my main focus here is teaching people who don't know how this works so that they can learn. So let's get some cables hooked up here. Cool. And there you go. Nice. They keep it a little bit neat. So each crafter can have 9 recipes in it. And we simply just place those patterns in there. And you'll notice the crafter automatically renders what it's making. So these are still patterns, right? When you hold shift, it shows what they're making. And when they're in a crafter, it always shows what they're making. So because we showed this system how to make these, we can now come up here, right? So check this out, right? When we look at refined storage, we'll see we only have one quartz-enriched iron available. We don't have any machine crafting casings, but we can click on it to craft it. And let's say we want one. It's going to tell me, hey, I'm missing some reinforced stone. Oh, you know what I did? I did something silly. We should fix that. So here's a nuance of Minecraft crafting, right? We're going to pull this guy out of here. When you just click it in with JEI, what happens is it picks one of the many things that can be used here. And if you just by default leave it in exact mode, it'll always want to use reinforced stone, but we don't really want that. So you could either change it manually to be smooth stone, and then it'll always use smooth stone, or you can uncheck exact mode, and what it'll do is it'll use whatever item is available that matches. So we could have left reinforced stone in there, turned off exact, and it'll say, you know what? Reinforced stone is the same as granite, is the same as andesite, so I'll just use whatever one works. But if you leave on exact mode, it'll only ever use smooth, regular Minecraft stone, right? So I'll turn off exact mode most of the time, and when you hold shift here, you'll see that it should be indicating that it's... Do I have to clear that? It should be cool to do that. Yeah, I guess. I thought there was like a little thing on the pattern that says it's like not exact mode, but maybe I'm crazy. Let's see what happens. Still says reinforced stone on it, which is weird. But let's see. Yeah, see, available one smooth stone. So now it knows what to do. And we'll hit start. So it knows I need to make nether quartz and iron into quartz-enriched iron, so I have to craft 8 of those. And then I need a piece of stone that's currently available to make the machine casing. So we hit start, and then it goes do-do-do, and makes it. Awesome. So now let's say we wanted to automate with a crafter one of those smelting recipes, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this chest from here for a minute. Well, yeah, I'm going to remove the chest here for a minute, right? And what we're going to do is, what we need to do is we have to tell the system you put items into this, and they will automatically be added into the refined storage system for you once crafting is completed. So you as the player need to get the items back into the refined storage system automatically. And there's a few ways you can do that. You can use the importer and attach that to the refined storage system right on top of the thermal smelter. And what that'll do is it'll suck items out as they get crafted. And so that's one approach. Another way you could do it is an interface. If you pipe items into an interface, so if we put the interface on top of the machine and kept automatic output enabled, it would put them in the interface, and the interface would import them into the system. The interface needs an importer and exporter, so let's go ahead and just use an importer and demonstrate that real quick. So what we're going to need is one of these destruction cores, right, and an importer. And we're going to stick that right on top of the output side of this, right, so the orange side. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to get the crafter here, and I'm going to make sure the crafter is facing the smelter, right? So the side, if we use a wrench to rotate this, you'll see. I thought there was a good way to rotate it, but I might need the wrench from Refined Storage. Refined Storage has its own wrench. But you get the idea. Make sure it's facing the, because it has a facing side. So make sure, you know, this side is facing the thing doing the craft. Cool. And make sure to hook up some cabling there. And then let's just run, I'm going to run this straight back here. Cool. That looks good, right? That's cool. So now he's online. We can see because he's blue. We want to make sure that there's an input on the back of the redstone furnace so that it's allowed to insert items. So now let's come over here and say, hey, how do we want to craft things, right? So let's say silicon, for example, right? Let's teach it how to make silicon. I'm going to take all the silicon I have out of here. We're going to say it's very simple. You put quartz in, and you get silicon out. Boom. We put that in the crafter here. And now when we come over here to silicon and we say we want 10 of these and hit start, it's going to insert 10 of them right in here. And the importer is pulling the items out of the redstone furnace. And we've made 10 silicon. Boom. How cool is that? All right. So I think that's a good wrap it up point for the episode. We'll wrap up here. That's the gists of refined storage. So those of you who have maybe never played with a mod like that before should hopefully have a good idea how to get started with it. We'll be doing a lot more automation with refined storage as the series goes on, but for now we have some really powerful ways to auto-craft things, and more auto-crafting and more programming of the system will occur in the near future. However, for now, it's wrap it up point. So Daryl20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.